You probably think the word alien is just a metaphor when people say it about the octopus. It isn't. Line up its biology next to yours. And the honest truth is that almost nothing about this animal works the way life on Earth is supposed to. And if you keep picturing it as just a clever sea creature, you'll miss the strangest part of all. That this alien was born here. On this planet. And I can prove it to you 4 times over. Let's start with the one fact that changes everything. 1. Its blood is the wrong color. What color do you think runs through its veins? You picture red, because that's the color of blood. Yours, your dog's, the fish at the market. Here's the honest answer. An octopus bleeds blue. Your red blood comes from hemoglobin, an iron-based molecule that grabs oxygen. The octopus doesn't use iron at all. It uses hemocyanin, a molecule built around copper. And copper, when it binds oxygen, doesn't turn red. It turns blue. It's not a quirk. Down in cold, low-oxygen water, copper-based blood moves oxygen more efficiently than ours would. Where iron would struggle, copper delivers. And it doesn't pump that blue blood with 1 heart. It pumps it with 3. 2 of them, the branchial hearts, sit at the base of the gills and do one job each. Push blood through a gill to load it with oxygen. The third, the systemic heart, sends that oxygen-rich blood out to the body. Here's the part that gets me. That main systemic heart stops beating when the octopus swims. Swimming exhausts it. Which is why an octopus, given the choice, would almost always rather crawl than swim. Swimming quite literally stops its heart. But strange blood is only the surface. Because by proof 4, I'm going to show you where this animal actually keeps its mind. And it is not where you would ever think to look. Hold on to that. Proof 2. How does an octopus know what it's touching? Down in the dark, where its eyes are useless. You'd guess it feels around, the way your hand would. Here's the honest answer. It doesn't just feel what it touches. It tastes it. In 2020, a Harvard team led by Nicholas Bologna published the mechanism in the journal Cell. The suckers are lined with a kind of sensor no other animal has. Chemotactile receptors. Chemotactile, meaning they taste by touch. And here's what's clever. These receptors are tuned to molecules that barely dissolve in water. The greasy, hard-to-smell traces a fish or a crab leaves behind on a rock. Invisible to a nose, but not to an octopus arm laid across them. A common octopus carries around 2,000 suckers across its 8 arms. And each sucker can hold on the order of 10,000 of these sensors. Here's the part that gets me. You bring food to your mouth to taste it. The octopus doesn't have to. Every arm tastes the instant it makes contact. The animal is, in a sense, covered in thousands of tiny tongues, sampling the world before its brain has even caught up. So keep asking yourself the question. If the tasting is happening out there, in the arms, then where is the deciding happening? That's proof. 4. We're getting there. If this is already changing how you picture the octopus, take 1 second. Hit like and subscribe so we can put this in front of more people who'll never look at one the same way again. Back to it. Proof 3. When the water around it turns cold, how do you think an octopus adapts? Evolution, you'd think? Over thousands of years, over generations. Here's the honest answer. The octopus doesn't wait for generations. It edits itself. In real time. Think of DNA as the master instruction book, locked in the cell. To actually use an instruction, the cell makes a working copy of that page. That copy is called RNA. Most animals, us included, follow the copy almost exactly. The octopus takes the copy and rewrites it, changing the instructions on the fly before its body ever acts on them. In 2017, Joshua Rosenthal at the Marine Biological Laboratory and Eli Eisenberg at Tel Aviv University showed that octopuses and their cousins do this on a scale nothing else comes close to. Tens of thousands of recoding sites, and the vast majority of them concentrated in the nervous system. And it ramps up in the cold. As the temperature drops, the editing increases, the animal retuning its own nervous system to the water it's sitting in. Here's the part that gets me. There's a real cost. To keep this much editing power, the octopus appears to have given something up. The fast, ordinary pace of genetic evolution most animals rely on. It runs its life on a different setting than the rest of us. Less change, slowly over eons. More rewrite tonight. And notice where almost all of that rewriting happens. The nervous system. Which brings us straight back to the question I planted at the very start. Where is that nervous system? This is the one I promised you at the start. Where does an octopus keep its brain? You picture a head like ours. One command center, running the show. Here's the honest answer. Mostly, it doesn't keep it there at all. An octopus has around 500 million neurons, and roughly 2/3 of them are not in its central brain. They're spread out, down its arms, which means each arm is something close to its own thinker. The arms can taste, feel, decide, and act semi-independently of the central brain. And this is the unsettling part. An arm that has been severed can still reach, still recoil, still grab, for a time, on its own. This is not a mind like yours, gathered behind two eyes. It is a mind spread across a body, thinking in 8 directions at once. And here is the reveal I owe you. The reason all of this feels alien, it isn't because the octopus came from somewhere else. It's the opposite. It's because the octopus is the closest thing on Earth to a second, separate invention of intelligence. Trace your family tree and its family tree back to the point where they meet, and you land more than 500 million years ago on a tiny, simple, worm-like creature with almost no brain to speak of. Everything remarkable about the octopus. Its problem-solving, its camera-like eyes, its distributed mind, evolved after that split. On its own branch, from scratch. Nature, in effect, ran the experiment of building a complex mind twice, once down our line and once down theirs. And the two answers barely resemble each other. The philosopher and diver Peter Godfrey Smith put it best in his book, Other Minds. Meeting an octopus is probably as close as we'll come to meeting an intelligent alien, without ever leaving the planet. So the next time someone calls the octopus an alien, you'll know it isn't a metaphor. And it isn't science fiction. It's an intelligence that evolved a second time. Here, in our own oceans, out of almost nothing. Blue blood, a body that tastes a code it rewrites at will, and a mind poured out into 8 arms. Not a simple sea creature, a different answer to the same question life asked twice, and the only alien we can actually visit. Next time, the animal that remembers every face it's ever seen and holds a grudge for years. You already know, the one.